This video is brought to you in collaboration with wowhead.com.
Hello everyone! A little while ago we got the Xal'atath questline, which led into the new raid released last week, the Crucible of Storms. Inside we find two bosses to confront, but on stream we actually discovered that not everybody is familiar with the history and ultimate plans of the old gods. So today I'm going to do a quick recap on that history and then talk about the Xal'atath questline, finishing it off with what happens during the raid and what might come in the future. Hope that sounds like a good plan. Let's begin, shall we?
I taste the essence of your soul.
N'Zoth's origins goes back to near the dawn of creation, where dark spirits within the void, they sought to twist reality into a realm of eternal torments, devour all creation. The Void Lords, they saw the Titans bring order to the universe, wake up their slumbering fellow Titans, and they were envious of their power. They failed at corrupting an awakened Titan, so instead they set their eyes on the more vulnerable slumbering ones. But like the Titans, they didn't know exactly which worlds contained these slumbering Titan spirits. So it was that they pooled their powers together and hurled dark creatures throughout the physical universe, hoping that some of them would eventually smash into a world soul. Their hopes would become a reality. Not just on Azeroth either, but to keep it closer at home, on the little planet that housed our adventures, these dark creatures, the old gods as we call them, they made quite the impact. Y'Shaarj, Yogg-Saron, knifu and N'Zoth. Their tendrils burrowed deep towards the unguarded spirits. The elemental lords on the planet, they were enslaved, and their dark creatures built the Black Empire, which now ruled the world of Azeroth. But only for a time, as the planet was eventually discovered by the Pantheon, infested it all, and they tried to save it. Their former champion Sargeras, he thought that destruction was the only possibility. This is why he formed his Burning Legion, but the others still held hope. Sure enough, they were more than capable of wiping out the planet as well, and the old gods with it, but that would also mean an incredible loss of life. So instead, a massive war against the Black Empire broke out. The enslaved elemental lords were conquered and sent to the elemental planes, while the old gods' corruption did prove to be quite the problem. Y'Shaarj, hanging out at the heart of the Black Empire, he was so powerful that against their better judgment, the Titans still reached down and ripped him out. Doing so left a massive wound behind. Ripping out the others, it would surely mean the death of the spirit inside the planet, so instead, imprisonment was the better option. N'Zoth was the first to be conquered, imprisoned around the area where later we would find the Well of Eternity as well as Uldaman. knifu and Yogg-Saron, they quickly followed. With the old gods locked away, life on Azeroth had a chance to grow. That massive wound that was left behind by ripping out Y'Shaarj, that was patched up with what we would call the Well of Eternity. The Titan Spirit's lifeblood is incredibly powerful. Its arcane energies and limitless power, it would drastically alter the lay of the land and the future of a race known as the Night Elves.
Entranced by the power they offered, our queen betrayed us.
It was their Queen Azshara and her Highborn that used the Well's powers, explored its depths and possibilities. They eventually made contact with the Dark Titan Sargeras, who was very interested in making his way to our little planet, as his fear of a corrupted Titan, it led him on his burning crusade. He was well aware that Azeroth had a spirit inside of it, but traveling there would take him ages. The deal offered was to grant the Night Elf Queen and her servitors unfathomable power, thereby allowing them to remake Kalimdor into a paradise. His only request was that Azshara and her followers would summon his agents into the world, so that they could give the Highborn this power. Enthralled by Sargeras' might, envisioning herself turning the world into perfection, like she was of course, Azshara and her Highborn, they worked very hard on bringing the Legion and Sargeras into the world. N'Zoth and the other old gods, they actually tried to use this to their advantage, make use of the coming of Sargeras to break out of their prisons. You might imagine that being ripped out by the Pantheon, it would teach them not to meddle with the Titans, but either way, they were still down with this plan. One of their pawns was the Black Dragon aspect Deathwing. His close connection to the earth, it made him more susceptible to the old god's influence. He fell to the whispers and was motivated to create a powerful artifact known as the Dragon Soul, which was later renamed into the Demon Soul. All of the aspects, except for Deathwing, they sacrificed a portion of their power into this artifact, with the goal of fighting back against the Legion's invasion. They had no idea that their brother had fallen, but would soon enough discover the madness behind Deathwing. He struck out not just at the demons, but also the other dragons and the Knight of Resistance, who were trying to fight against the Queen's plans. Wielding the artifact had some massive effects on Deathwing, not to mention that the Night Elf Illidan Stormrage, he found out about it and actually dared to steal it from the dragon. He had decided to fight against the Queen from within, pretends to ally himself with Sargeras and the Legion, use the might of the enemy and their will to fight back. Little did he know that there were other forces at play. The old gods had their eyes on the elf and they pushed him in the right direction, where his plan was to reverse the portal and send the demons back to where they came from. Quite the opposite actually happened. A dark aura surrounded him, one that Thrawn the Whisperwind could clearly see, but she was unable to warn him about as he had magically silenced her voice. She noted in amazement that the mysterious entities now augmented Illidan's spell, transforming it into something far more formidable than it would ever have been. The way was made clear for Sargeras, yet despite the old gods, Azshara, the Highborn, Manoroth, Archimonde and the Legion, they did everything they could to bring their master into the world. The war was still won by the Resistance. In the end, they managed to use the Dragon Soul to reverse the portal and send the demons back. Yet all that spellwork underwell, it made her incredibly unstable, and the land of Kalimdor started to sunder, split apart into what it looks like today. The Maelstrom is the remnant of the Well of Eternity, and the Queen, she wasn't exactly happy about all of this. She had not permitted this to happen. Some might have been foolish enough to believe that she had come into power just because of her beauty, but she was also incredibly powerful. Yet all that power was not enough to keep the waters away.
My people.
My queen, your fault. You betrayed.
This is my fault. No! 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 Please! No! This was not the deal I made!
Deal? I like deal.
Who are you? Show yourself! At once!
For 1,000 years, bound beneath these waves, I have watched you. I have tasted your essence.
You?
It won't be long now. Your death is near. Only I can sustain you. Let go. Serve me.
You? You are nothing.
Nothing.
I am a god! Before you walked this land, I ruled.
Magnificent.
Serve me, and we will rebuild my empire.
No.
No! You dead! You will die!
A queen! Not a slave. You've watched me for 1,000 years, so you know what I want. Take my people. With them, I will raise an army, conquer your enemies, build an empire as queen. Or let me die, and you will remain here, a prisoner. The god of nothing.
She is Queen Azshara, not a slave. With death staring her in the face, she still makes a deal with N'Zoth. They're saved and transformed into creatures known as the Naga, one of the most powerful amongst these twisted abominations that was the Queen's former handmaiden, namely Lady Vash. Hidden from the world, she and Azshara would quietly build a Naga capital of Nashatar in the cold darkness at the bottom of the sea. Meanwhile, life on the surface continued and life flourished. Many different factions and races they came to power on the broken world, with many events that N'Zoth and the other old gods directly or indirectly played a part in. Sargeras' Burning Crusade also continued, which led to an alien force invading Azeroth, the Horde stepping foot on the planet, a great threat at first, but a strong ally later down the line. You see, despite the old gods working very hard from their prisons on bringing the world down, stuff like the Curse of Flesh, the Infinite Dragonfly, the Emerald Nightmare, despite dealing great damage and causing innumerable loss of life, they also created some of the most powerful enemies imaginable. The old gods suffered shocking setbacks over the years, including the defeat of knifu and Xal'atath at the hands of Azeroth defenders. They'd never anticipated such fierce resistance, and they'd never anticipated the rise of such fearless heroes. But N'Zoth, shrouded in an ocean of fevered dreams, amongst the bones of nameless horrors, remained untouched by the blades of mortals.
It is ironic that the weakest of us may be the ultimate victor. Knifu, Xal'atath, Y'Shaarj, and... well, only one would remain to consume the world that was always meant to be.
The old god was certain that Azeroth's champions would eventually seek it out and try to overwhelm it, as they had done with knifu and Y'Shaarj. It was not afraid, but it did sense that a window of opportunity was fastly closing. The world was wounded by the recent war against the Lich King. Time to use everything he had to bring about the Hour of Twilight. This would be the moment where they would break out of the shackles and rebuild the Black Empire. A time when shadow would envelop the universe and snuff out all life in existence. The events of the Cataclysm were backed up by N'Zoth. He signed Deathwing's paychecks, as they once described it, so events like Deathwing breaking out of the world, Ragnaros trying to burn down Nordrassil, Elakir in Uldir, Cho'Gall and the Twilight Hammer, imprisonment of Neptulon by the Naga, all of the events that we saw go down in that expansion, they were mainly fueled by N'Zoth. Occupied with their own faction conflict, the Alliance and Horde were ill-prepared to deal with these new enemies. Fortunately, these factions were not Azeroth's only defenders. We also had shamans of the Earthen Ring, druids of the Cenarian Circle, there were dragons, demigods, heroes of the world, mainly us, and even the Alliance and the Horde eventually managing to focus on the real threats. All of this came together within the Dragon Soul raid. Here we find former War Chief Thrall, now World Shaman Goel, teaming up with the other dragon aspects to take on Deathwing with the use of the Demon Soul. Deathwing held nothing back, even N'Zoth sent his minions to help out. The cost on all sides were horrific. Hundreds of cultists and Twilight Dragons lost their lives. Just as many of the Temple Defenders, they fell in battle. Their deaths were not in vain though. It allowed the rest to focus on Deathwing. We pursued him through the skies and slowly but surely whittled away at his strength. N'Zoth sensed that his servant was on the verge of defeat. The old god's plans were unraveling and made one final desperate attempt to turn the tide. He infused Deathwing with more of its power, more than the old god had ever given the Black Dragon aspect before. This influx of energy, it was so great that Deathwing's already unstable body, it wrenched apart, and molten tentacles, it unfurled from his broken hide. Thrall turned the Dragon Soul against this aberration. To ensure that it would destroy the aspect, the other aspects, they sacrificed all the remaining power to the artifacts. Their essence, combined with Goel's element of earth that he had woven into the weapon, it seared through Deathwing. The explosive power annihilated his tormented mind and body. In that moment, N'Zoth's campaign to bring about the Hour of Twilight, it collapsed.
The Cataclysm is over.
Those plans might have failed, but N'Zoth hasn't been taken on directly quite yet, and his minions are still very much out there. Funny enough, the first time that we saw him was not actually revealed within Warcraft, but with a Hearthstone card. Either way, we saw his influence play out in Legion through the effects of the Emerald Nightmare, a story once dealt with before in the novel Stormrage, but even back then, Malfurion knew full well that the threat of the Nightmare was not completely gone. He could only push it back to a small corner known as the Rift of Aln, believed to be where this magical realm, the Emerald Dream itself, first originated. The Nightmare held firmly in that place, which those of Malfurion's calling believed bled into the twisting nether and the great dark beyond. Gazing into it, Malfurion saw it as a bottomless chasm which radiated with primeval energies that even he dared not investigate. Curiously, only then did he feel that the ancient evil, though it fought to keep its grip there, it did so from somewhere deep in the depths of Azeroth's own seas. It was somehow still powerful enough to keep that one place under his horrific sway. Today, in the novel Stormrage, it might have been saved. This other war would have to wait for another, a better time. And that time came with Legion, where the Nightmare came out in full force. A full-blown raid now followed, heroes of Azeroth with the mighty artifacts in hand, taking on this threat. Shadow Priests were accompanied by an artifact, which was called Xal'atath, Blade of the Black Empire. It had its dark genesis in the age long before the Horde and the Alliance, an age when the legendary Old Gods and their Black Empire engulfed the world in shadow. There are many theories concerning the blade's creation. The more outlandish claim that it's all remains of a forgotten old god who was consumed by its kin in the early days of the Black Empire. Other theories state that Xal'atath is the claw of Y'Shaarj, ripped from the old god's monster's form and bestowed upon its servants for use in ritual sacrifices. As unbelievable as these stories might be, perhaps there is truth to them. Xal'atath pulses with the foul essence of the old gods. It is even said that the blade can grant its owner visions of the Black Empire, but all who have looked upon such horrors have lost themselves to madness. She's also always up for a good chat, and when taking her into that rift of Aln, she says,
Almost completely gone, as if it never existed. But the rift is deep and vast, and somewhere down there it stirs. Something has changed. The last prison weakens. We must prepare.
Yet, while we did our best to prepare, the war against the Legion it continued, which ended with Sargeras damming the planets and priests sacrificing the artifact to drain the blade of its corruption. The massive power overload, it caused Xal'atath to go dormant for a bit, which meant that we had to go through Battle for Azeroth without our waifu at our side.
Strength failing. I need blood. Souls.
Now her quest is available to anyone, with some minor differences depending on what faction you play for. You pick up Xal'atath and you go empower her, where Shadow Priests, they of course already hold Xal'atath, and they bring her with them instead. That personally makes the most sense to me lore-wise, that is the canon story. But in essence, Xal'atath returns, we empower her, and we go on a brand new adventure together. The Naga are on the rise, ordered to invade our shores and seize artifacts of power. Xal'atath might be our best chance of uncovering what the Naga are seeking. The servants of N'Zoth prepare for their master's return. They intend to conjure a scouting storm to wash away all unbelievers. The particular ritual that they have in mind is going to require 3 ancient artifacts, one of the void, one of the storm, and one of the ocean. Now the Void Stone is calling to her. We see that Inannis foolishly believes that she could be the one to unlock its powers. Instead, we slay her, we use the stone to empower Xal'atath in order to track down the other 2 relics, and in the process, she might as well take on the mortal form by taking the body of Inannis. Now, her sweet void guides us to the trident, pot lost to the depths, now taken by an ambitious pirate, and a crown picked up by a Toatana after the fall of Atal Grau, the Temple of the Shark Loa. It was brought down by the Naga, but this prize was taken by the very shiny crab, so we make sure to take it back. The relics are in our possession, as it was meant to be. There is but one more step needed for the great truths to be revealed. The Naga sought to summon their storm from a place that echoes with ancient power. Though this site has had countless names over the ages, we know it as the Precipice of Oblivion, delivering artifacts of great power to Xal'atath just walking around in a brand new body. What could possibly go wrong?
Here we are. Oh, do not be afraid. This was always meant to be. A stone to call forth the darkness. A weapon forged in the depths. A crown for the ruler of all worlds. Hear me, God of the Deep. I have brought you the Opener, the bringer of truths, the torch that lights the way. Honor our bargain. Free me to find my own fate.
Go, but the blade must remain to serve my will.
A fair exchange. Shadows guide you, my dear friend. We will meet again. I am certain of it.
I have dreamed your destiny, mortal. The hour is close at hand. That which was sunken shall rise. All that was sleeping shall be awakened. Receive my gift and see all truth before you.
The torch that lights the way.
5 keys to open our way. 5 torches ashes to light our path.
The hour is close at hand.
At the hour of her third death, she ushers in our coming.
I have dreamed your destiny. In the sunken city he lays dreaming. That which was sunken shall rise. In the land of Nyalofa there is only sleep. In the sleeping city of Nyalofa walk only mad things. The fish know all the secrets. They know the cold. They know the dark. Quotes from Il'gynoth and the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, now mirrored by N'Zoth. The old god has touched us. His eye bear witness to what we do. You actually have a choice here. You can either keep it on your head, and you might hear N'Zoth whisper to you from time to time. If you don't, and you actually want to cleanse this curse, you will be rewarded with a toy. I really like having this little secret society walking around in Azeroth, only visible to those who are part of the same group. It's definitely a nice touch, and let's not forget that Xal'atath has now been released from her prison, her blade, and now walks the world once more. Were the other old gods responsible for her imprisonment? Is that why she had to make a deal with N'Zoth? We know from BlizzCon that the blade will have some part to play with Sylvanas. Some even suggest that it could potentially become a prison to contain the Banshee Queen, but that will be revealed in the future. In this moment, we have the next raid waiting for us. The Crucible of Storms has whispers and madness that echo through its halls. The same voices that drove Lord Stormsong to madness must now be confronted. Those who listen and obey prepare dark rituals to carry out the Master's will. Whatever nightmarish schemes fuel their fanatical devotion, one thing is certain, they must be stopped.
The scent of mortal filth defiles this chamber. They are insolent, unworthy of his gift. He has awakened, and they shall slumber in his stead. Let their flesh become an offering of atonement.
The raid has two fights to master, starting with the Restless Cabal, called from the depths to retrieve 3 relics of ancient power. Those relics we collect together with Xal'atath. The Restless Cabal is bound to serve N'Zoth and attend to his will. Zakash speaks promises of power, while Fatu crushes their opposition with brute force. The skinny guy and the big guy, as we call them, they use the relics to be gathered to unleash powerful abilities. They do not stand alone either, as ads walk onto the field, a fighting ground that we cannot leave, for death is waiting around its edges. Our allies are sometimes turned against us, while the Restless Cabal do not believe that we are worthy of N'Zoth's gifts. We prove them wrong, of course, but upon defeat, the darkness down below reveals itself.
Master, grant me strength. He will yet claim you. Your terror will be unending.
The tendril of corruption leads us to the chamber, where we said goodbye to Xal'atath and now find Unat waiting for us. The old god enjoys talking quite a bit, and he has some interesting stuff to say. One that had a lot of people speculate on what he's on about, that is...
You draw close 6 seats at the high table. 6 mouths that hunger. 1 will consume all others.
Anyone's guess what he's actually talking about. Some suggest that it's the cosmic forces within the Warcraft universe, but personally, I'd say it's about the old gods. Y'Shaarj, C'Thun, Yogg-Saron, N'Zoth, G'huun, and Xal'atath. Now yes, G'huun is an artificially created old god, and who knows what Xal'atath actually is, but considering that she herself does whisper about only 1 remaining to consume the world. That is where I personally put my money, but again, it's old gods whispering, so the realm of speculation is endless. All the same, the gorgeously designed tendril, it leads us to that big, beautiful eye, and Unat, harbinger of the void.
These lowly mortals desecrate your shrine, Master. Let us drown them and wash away their defiance. Patience. Patience. They may yet prove worthy of my gift. I will taste their dreams. Their flesh. Let Let it be as you command. They will serve, or they will die.
When she struck a bargain with N'Zoth 10,000 years ago, Queen Azshara offered one of her most devoted followers into the Old God's service. Now Unat and the crawling masses he commands herald the coming of their master as foretold by the stars. The relics that were turned against us now actually aid us in this fight, a great boon for the fight to come, as having N'Zoth's eye upon us, it makes for quite a challenge. His minions, which might actually connect to his ability in Hearthstone, they come with death rattles, like they can spawn more ads or deal massive AoE damage. The artifacts can be used to counter these abilities, or stop them from happening altogether. With the battlefield shrinking in size, our allies turn against us, and the minion of N'Zoth crawling onto the field. It is quite the battle, but all the same, we prove ourselves worthy of his so-called gifts.
Master, they are worthy. Yes, you are indeed the ones I seek. The ones to turn the tide. Receive now the greatest of all gifts. My dream has become your own. The circle of stars made flesh. She will show you the way. Come. The hour approaches when all eyes shall be opened.
The blade that was known as Xal'atath is waiting for us on the floor. As a member of the Horde, you feel a compulsion to bring this artifact to the War Chief. As you present the dagger to Sylvanas, a faint smile curls her lips. For the briefest moment, it seems her eyes darken. A trick of the lights, no doubt.
The Alliance believes that by striking down Rastakhan and decimating the Zandalari fleet, they have broken us. That the Horde will soon crumble. Fools. The Boy King has lied to himself and his people. He hasn't the faintest inkling of what he's truly up against. War is a living thing. It writhes, it grows, twisting and turning until its final form is revealed. This war is about to shift yet again, and it will be this blade that guides our way to victory.
She will show us the way, while the Alliance merely finds an echo of the blade. They do feel compelled to warn the king that the blade itself, it may now reside in the hands of the enemy.
When Sylvanas Windrunner became War Chief, I knew we would not be friends. But I didn't want us to be enemies. Then came the massacre in Arathi, and the burning of Teldrassil. It's clear she does not fight for Azeroth. She doesn't even fight for the Horde. She wages war upon life itself. We are so close to ending this conflict and forging a lasting peace. But if Sylvanas uncovers some new weapon that allows her to keep fighting... No. We must discover what she's after, and stop whatever madness she seeks to unleash upon us.
Another War Chief obtaining a powerful weapon associated with the Void. Will we see her hang it up on the ceiling of Orgrimmar, slowly draining its power and changing phases? I really hope not. I really hope that they got some better stuff planned. But yeah, this is the end of the Crucible. Now it's time to wait for patch 8.2. Plenty of data mining is currently going on. Some juicy stuff is waiting on the horizon. For now though, the old god N'Zoth is plotting and scheming. Xal'atath is on the loose, and the War Chief will use the blade as a compass. I did find it interesting that she mentioned Anduin lying to himself and his people. There's this old whisper about the Boy King serving at the Master's table.
3 lives will he offer you.
Is Anduin playing right into the hands of the old gods? Only time's going to tell. For now though, thank you ever so much for watching everyone. If you're looking for some more details on all the things that we talked about today, then check out the related Wild article in the description down below. Subscribe if you like my videos, leave a like if you enjoyed this one, and until next time guys, see ya!